Hello, everyone. Welcome into Simply Life. I'm Keith Casebolt, my dear friend and the host of this program, Gary C. Johnson, back with us.
Wonderful to be here, and we're going to talk a little bit about the dash today. The dash.
Whew.
And you know what made me think about talking about the dash, my friend, was when I went to the cemetery
Yeah.
and visited and put the flowers out. And I looked at the dates, and then I saw that little bitty dash in between the dates, and I realized that it's time to talk to my friends about not wasting any of that dash.
Gary, it is so amazing to me that when you go, you find yourself saying, has it really been that long? Has this person been gone 10 years, 20 years? And then you start looking and you say, wait a minute, I thought they were old. They were young when they
Right.
passed away.
Yeah.
Those kind of conversations.
So, my friends, we're going to talk about the squeeze
Yeah.
and how that it is your responsibility to squeeze every second out of life. Squeeze it for everything it's worth, because you've only got that little bitty dash, and it was the gift that was given to us. So, my friends, let's not waste it.
I think you and I both have decided that when our time comes, we want our dash to be stretched out real long from the beginning date to the end date, just to send the message that we squeezed every second we could out of it.
So, my friends, don't waste 1 minute being miserable. Don't criticize, condemn, and complain.
Mm-hmm.
Try to the best you can to be impeccable with the word. Stop taking things personal, because when you do, you feel bad, you're miserable. Do the best you can do and not worry about what other people are doing. The only concern is for you,
Gary, is it safe to say
and never assume anything.
is it safe to say that if any of our friends or relatives could come back, they would put their arms around you and say all the things that you just said? That would be their advice to you?
And in keeping with squeezing our dash,
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to have a little lightheartedness, right?
Feels good to smile.
So I have found some quotes that I think are so neat that I have to share them with my friends. The first one is this: listen up, girls. Unless he's wearing a diaper, you can't change him.
Now, that should be the best advice passed down to any young lady in the world, isn't it?
I thought that was so funny.
Unless he's wearing a diaper, you're never going to be able to change him.
Oh, shoot. Now, here's a really neat one that my friends are going to understand, because we've talked a lot about it on the program
Mm-hmm.
in the past. When you're 20, you care what everyone thinks. When you're 40, you stop caring what everyone thinks. And when you're 60, you realize no one was ever thinking about you in the first place.
Now, that goes along with assuming and taking things personal. They just put it in a really good, lighthearted way of saying you're just not that important for people to sit around and think about you or do things to you.
And they don't.
Of course not.
People, we always assume people are looking. And they're not. They got their own lives to live.
You and I were just sitting here before we started this program, and we were trying to work out a time that we could do a project, and you were looking at your calendar going, booked, booked, booked. Well, that's most people. Their days and their time is covered up with things they're doing for themselves and their families.
Mm-hmm. But we're going to squeeze the dash.
I'm
And
with you.
today on this program, because we're going to have some lightheartedness, and we're going to squeeze the dash. We're going to laugh a little bit, right? Here's a good one from Ralph Waldo Emerson. The louder he talked of his honor, the faster we counted our spoons. Oh, isn't that so true?
Have any of us run into that situation before?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Here's a good one to give you a little chuckle. Being on a horse puts you a little closer to heaven. Being bucked off does the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, here's one, folks, that when we're talking about misery and making sure that we try to have some enjoyment and happiness in life,
Mm-hmm.
here's a good one from a fellow by the name of Adam Moss. The closer I get to death, the less I want to hang out with people I can't stand.
That goes back with your conversation about withdrawing permission.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You have to withdraw your permission.
So if we're going to squeeze that dash and we're going to enjoy it,
My friends are going to totally withdraw permission from people that make them miserable.
and we're going to stop hanging out with people we
And,
can't stand.
and again, except for your children, which you can't help that.
That's right.
Okay, here's a good one. And again, we've talked about the theme of this same quote on our program many times before. Yesterday is history.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift of God, which is why we call it the present. It's a present from God.
Now that is an absolute truth. And you have talked so many times on this program, Gary, about people living the big portion of their life in the past or living it in the future and not realizing that what you have is today.
And it's a present.
And it's a present. And you should cherish it, and you should enjoy it and live it to the best of your ability.
And that's what my friends are doing. Absolutely.
We are now.
Okay, here's a good one from Voltaire. You ready for it?
I am.
Good little quote. To learn who rules over you, simply find out who you are not allowed to criticize.
Well, I think we all just answered that in our minds, didn't we?
Yep.
I know immediately who that is. I think we all do.
I think those are so neat. And this is a good one for people in eastern Kentucky over what happened to us over the years ago. It's from J. Paul Getty. The meek shall inherit the earth, but not the mineral rights.
That's really not funny, but it is.
It is. It's the truth.
It is the truth, isn't it?
That's what they.
The meek shall inherit the earth, just not the mineral rights.
And here's the last one I think I'm going to do for you. It's an old saying. 100 years ago, everyone owned a horse, and only the rich had cars. Today, everyone has cars, and only the rich own horses. The tables have turned.
Isn't that so true?
Change.
Funny how life has changed, hasn't it?
Well, I spent most of Memorial Day running around, riding around, looking around, going to cemeteries. And I looked at just the change of the roads, the change of the buildings, the change of everything has changed over the years that I've lived.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is recognizable.
No, I wonder, Gary, had we gone away for 40 years and not been back to eastern Kentucky, and then all of a sudden we came back in 40 years, would you and I even know where to go or how to get around?
Well, it's interesting in one sense because we all instinctively hesitate to change.
We fight it.
I think that is an instinct we have.
Sure.
But yet change is constantly happening. So, my friends, let's get on board with it.
Well, and change is a good thing. I mean, sometimes it can be difficult, sometimes it can be bad, but, you know, your phrase that you say all the time could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Time will tell. Isn't that the truth?
And I'm going to give you one more quote because it's probably my favorite one that I never forget. To change is to grow. To have changed often is to have grown much. When I read that thing probably 25 or 30 years ago, I said, what a good thing.
Well, it really is. And there's hope in that. I mean, if you're in a place that you don't like right now in your life, you can change.
That's why I'm saying to my friends, if somebody's making you miserable, get them out of your life. If you're in a situation to where life is miserable, figure out a way to change it. Use your brain. The good Lord gave you a brain. Don't waste it.
You know, I think the most important thing that you personally have given to me through and by this program is the empowerment to say, I want to change, or I want things to be different. And up until then, sometimes we get caught up in talking about a problem and never getting to the point of saying, well, change it. And you've always been very blunt when you've come out and said, if this is causing you stress or this is bad, then change it.
That reminds me of when I was county attorney years ago. A lady called me complaining about this man calling and harassing her on the phone. And she said, what can I do? I said, well, you might try hanging up. And her answer to me was, can I do that?
So in other words, she felt like she had to hold the receiver and listen to the whole conversation.
So what I'm saying to my friends is, hang up.
Don't answer the phone.
And I'm just using this as a metaphor for you because really and truly, you can hang up on the people that are making you miserable in life. You have that right.
Now that lesson is great, but I think a lesson that you taught about a year or two ago, you did a whole show on, Keith, a dead horse is a dead horse. And it was the analogy for problems in your life that are never changing, but you're sitting there struggling, trying to do this, when in fact it's a dead horse. You move on.
And once you do, then change happens, and you have a shot at squeezing that dash for some happiness. Which really, my friends, when you cut it down to the quick and you put life on the head of a pin, how you feel and how happy you are and how content you are with your family, it's all that matters. And you can put life on the head of a pin, believe it or not, if you stay focused.
I ran into somebody the other day that said, you shouldn't have to work at being happy. And I said, who told you that? And they said, well, it shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't have to work at being happy. Did you not hear Gary's program he did about the potholes of life? And I was telling this individual about life gives you enough potholes the way it is. You've got to work at not creating your own potholes.
That's right.
And it was a great lesson that you taught, but it's true, Gary. We have to work at being happy.
We have to work at being happy in the sense that we have to work at not being miserable.
We got to be on guard.
And misery will grab you and drag you down. It loves company. It loves company. It'll suck a life right out of you if you'll let it.
Oh, my goodness.
That's the work you do to be happy, is dodging misery and trying to get out of its way so that it don't suck you into it. Therefore, my friends, the dash. Remember the dash. If you forget the dash, go to the cemetery and you'll see the dashes. That's all you've got. Squeeze it for everything it has to make you feel good, happy, and be content. Squeeze that dash, because that dash is what you've got, and it's all you've got on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
Don't waste it. It was a gift that was given to you, the gift of life. Hang on to it, cherish it.
Get rid of that worry. I mean, if there's anything I thought when I was at the cemetery, I looked around and I said, from what Gary's taught, no matter what these individuals were worrying about, if they could come back now, they wouldn't be worrying about that. They would be squeezing the dash and enjoying life.
All the things they were worried about never happened.
99.9% of those things. Now that goes back into the other lesson, that means so much to me that you taught. I would tell you about a problem, and you would smile and say, 5 years from now, if it's still a problem, you probably got a bad situation on your hands. But if you can't remember it 5 years from now, it never was a problem.
Well, will you remember it 6 months from now?
No, I can't tell you what I was worried about. No, not at all.
That's the point.
Most of us can't. That's the lesson that you're trying to teach, that we get caught up in these little anthills and we try to make them into a mountain when we don't put them in the perspective they really need to be in.
Well, my friends they are going to squeeze the dash, at least today.
Well, it certainly does feel better. I can tell you that much. A smile on your face and being happy beats the alternative.
Well, what I want my friends to do is think. Use that brain that the good Lord gave you. And if you're in a situation and you're listening to this program to where that misery is trying to drag you down, use your brain and figure a way out of it to prevent it from happening. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen instantly. When we get ourselves into situations by choices we make.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of choices, I want to remind you folks of something. Regret is a terrible thing, and regret will make you miserable. Wishing I had, what if.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
As we go through life, you make choices. And you say, well, I should have gone on to school. I should have done this. I should have done that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I hadn't done this. If you have someone in your life that you cherish, maybe a child or a grandchild or whatever, that would not be in your life had you make that other choice that you're regretting not making, then you made the right choice. Even though you may think it was the wrong choice, it's not, because you would not have that person in your life had you made the other choice. And everything is a balance in life.
Sure.
So you made the right choice. So don't regret not making the other choice, because you have this person you cherish in your life that you would not have otherwise.
It's got you to where you are now in life.
And it's brought you with the people around you in your life. And if you don't want to change those completely,
mm-hmm.
then the choices you've made in life were the right ones for you. Even though you look back and say, no, that was stupid or whatever, you wouldn't be where you are had you not made the right those choices. You would not have the people in your life had you not made those choices. So instead of regretting and wondering and saying, what if, cherish what you've got. Enjoy the dash.
Boy, that's a great lesson. It's a great lesson. And it's one that, I learned from my dear friend, great basketball player, Todd. And I asked him one time, I said, do you ever think about what if? And he said, oh, absolutely not. He said, what a wonderful life I have here with my family, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I could have gone off to another country or a big city, and life could have never been this good. And he had the attitude of just exactly what you said. The way things worked brought me to where I'm at. And it's good.
And if you've got people that you care about and you love where you're at, then you made the right choices.
And that's where your riches
Even
are.
though from an economic standpoint or otherwise they may appear to be bad choices, they were not bad choices.
No, because you've just told us where the true wealth is.
Right.
The wealth is in your family, your friends, the people around you. That's where all the wealth lies.
So cherish your dash, my friends. Cherish it totally and completely. Squeeze it, and squeeze it for every moment of happiness and joy that you can find. And you will see that life is not bad. It's pretty doggone good.
And in case you tuned in late, the best quote that you had out of all those was, "Ladies, if he's not wearing a diaper, you can't change him." I just like that one. I think that's the best one of all. My friend, thank you for being here. You can catch Gary's television show on WYMT, your CBS affiliate, Simply the Law. It's on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock. Gary and I really hope that you'll tune us in. Also, you can catch a late-night version in Central Kentucky. That's on WKYT, your CBS affiliate there also. If you have questions, you can go to Gary C. Johnson, Gary at GaryCJohnson.com. By the way, our radio programs are up on your website. So, and I've encouraged a few people to go and listen to the Potholes of Life. I really thought that was a great lesson that you did. So if you've missed the show or you want someone to hear one of the radio broadcasts, you can go to Gary at GaryCJohnson.com and listen to the broadcast on the website.
Buddy, life is good.
It is today, and today's what we've got.
The present.
Exactly. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, Gary and I look forward to seeing you again next week, right here at this same time.